This is Right to Life Radio, a production of Right to Life of Central California. And now, here's your host, John Girardi.
It's the first Saturday of the month, and as always, on first Saturdays, we have our Stories from the Sidewalk with Linda Talia from Right to Life of Central California. Welcome again to Right to Life Radio, Linda.
Thank you very much.
All right, so let's get started. So what Linda does, for those who don't know, maybe you're new to the show, Linda works for us at Right to Life of Central California, and she basically works at our building that we have at Right to Life right next to Planned Parenthood, and she interacts with people going into and out of the clinic on a daily basis to offer them alternatives to abortion and just someone to talk to. And you've had a couple of interesting conversations out there lately, so tell us about that you ran into. This is one of the sad realities of abortion, is you ran into some teenagers, and tell us about what happened there.
All right. Well, we're looking down the street on the sidewalk, and here comes these two young-looking girls walking towards Planned Parenthood, walking toward Monica and I. Mm-hmm. Monica is our other outreach sidewalk advocate. Mm-hmm. And so we just approached them and basically said, "What are you guys doing?" And they said, "Oh, well, we're just here to get some stuff."
Right.
And so, I mean, there's that part, and then there's, how are you here? You know,
right.
You just
did
walking you not
down
go to
the
school
street.
Or
yeah. And what time of day was it?
Oh, it was probably like, I don't know, 11 maybe.
Yeah, it was right in the middle of the day. Yeah.
Maybe 10, 11.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then
a lot of questions being raised.
And since we were straight out of the blue, they didn't really have time to think about, something they might come up with. And they were pretty forthright. And they said, "Oh, well, we just came over here from Fresno High. Our I don't know whether it's their teacher or somebody on the campus said, go over and have this done." And we're like, "Oh, really? So you just walked off campus and just walked down the street, and did you take the bus or anything?" "No, we just walked. It's not that far." Mm-hmm. And I said, "Well, that's interesting. Do you guys know? Do you know what Planned Parenthood is?" "Oh, well, they didn't. Ultimately, they really didn't. It was just where you go."
Right.
And they do all kinds of good things. And
right.
So
of course, yeah.
Then we just started saying, well, Planned Parenthood is an abortion center and an abortion clinic, and they do abortions. And they're like, "What?" And we're going to make sure they knew exactly what an abortion was. And Monica kind of filled them in on that. And then this one always floors me. I just said, so what do you think about the fact that you were able to walk off campus to walk over to an abortion center? And do you guys do sports? Mm-hmm. I mean, if you do sport and you want to go to, say, a track meet, you have to get a permission slip.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
either it's
just
each
walking.
time or at the beginning of the season or whatever, just to get on the bus to go to a school activity, you have to have a permission slip.
Right.
But you can just slip out of Fresno High.
So they just did they indicate to you whether like they had been released out by a nurse or a teacher, or were they just?
I'm not exactly who sent them out, but they did have the little slip.
They did have a slip. Okay.
Yeah. So, okay, bye, girls.
Yeah.
And
then just walking.
Yeah, they walked.
And just so people have context. I
mean, it's not 3 miles uphill or anything like I had to go to school.
No, but I mean, it's pretty far.
I'd say it's at least, it's got to be a good mile and a half.
Yeah, and it's
and
also...
what kid signs up to just go out walking a mile and a half anyway?
Right, and it's also, this is not like the greatest walk. I mean, this is a very rough part of town. So you've got a student with some kind of release from a teacher.
Yep.
2 students.
Yep, 2 girls.
Two girls.
And so we actually talked about that, Monica and I, and just said, with all of this stuff in the news, the media, et cetera, about human trafficking, et cetera, be careful where you go, what you do. Okay, here you go, girls. Just, I don't even, be careful, don't be careful, just go, Yeah,
I mean, that's astonishing.
It makes no sense.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You couldn't even go home and get your, if you forgot your lunch, I forgot my lunch. too bad, you're going to go hungry. But if you need to go and have some business taken care of over at Planned Parenthood, lady business.
Just go walk, go
Okay.
walk over. Here's a note. Go walk over.
See
I
you
guess
later.
the walk will be good for your health too.
But it was really, really a good opportunity for us because we got to really talk about everything. And they were super open to, I didn't know that. And because I said, did you realize you could be 12 and do this?
Yeah.
Like, you don't need a permission slip. And I just went really deep with, okay, so now you know you could be 12 and do this. Let me make this even more graphic for you. You can be 12, come to this clinic. Someone can drive you to the clinic without a permission slip, without talking to your mom, without talking to anybody who knows you, and you can have a surgical abortion.
With your parents never know.
A surgical abortion.
Yeah.
Have any of you guys had surgery? No.
Yeah.
I go, well, this is actually surgery where they give you anesthesia and tell you, you know, these are the risks.
Yeah.
And put you to sleep and rip your baby out of you. Pack you back up, send you back to school. Hey, have a good day.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and obviously how they do it is kind of varies from person to person. I mean,
oh, for sure.
More local anesthesia for most sort of first trimester abortions. But still, you're talking about a very invasive.
But if this isn't a first trimester, it could be a second trimester.
Yeah, it could be a second trimester.
Or a third now.
We're
in California.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, well, that's kind of, I mean, it's a thing that you sort of know happens in theory, but to see it in person, I'm sure is just a whole different kind of eye opener of like, and I mean, how old did they say, like,
I want to say they were 16 max.
Yeah.
Because they weren't seniors or anything. So
right.
I'm thinking they were 14 to 16 and just like super nice, easygoing. They weren't like harsh or hard or mean or whatever. They just were like, what?
Yeah.
And that's an exaggeration too. What? I think they kind of knew, but it was the same old thing that we talk about when you actually talk about specifics and what is really happening rather than, people have abortions. Well, this is what that actually means.
Yeah, this is what an abortion is. Yeah.
Well, not even just what this is what an abortion is. This is what is involved in this whole drive to be, pro-choice.
Yeah.
You're way on the other side of the slope where, little girls, I mean, I consider a 12-year-old a little girl can just do what they did. And they, these girls were sisters and friends and, daughters.
Right.
So now 2 people were able to go back to school and we gave them some information and talked about things and talked about Obria and just, it was a great opportunity for us to have conversation without it being volatile, like it's always portrayed on the social media or whatever.
Course, yeah.
And they were very open because, here we are out on the street and
right. Yeah. Well, and that's sort of another thing to sort of highlight to people is how much this kind of thing is integrated even just at Fresno Unified. So Fresno Unified has a whole program with the Fresno Economic Opportunities Commission, where Fresno Economic Opportunities Commission had this service, and it was pre-COVID, and I'm sure it's back again after COVID. They have a clinic in downtown Fresno that provides contraception, all kinds of things like that. And Fresno EOC had an arrangement where they would drive kids from a Fresno Unified school to this clinic downtown and not only not tell the parents, but even lie to parents. Basically, like they were authorized, basically a parent could call and say, is my child present today?
No way.
And they could say, oh, yeah, your child's present. Meanwhile, the kid's being driven across town by some employee from Fresno EOC going to some clinic thing. They're it's not a lie in the sense, well, they're present in school. We're accounting them as present, even though we
marked them in their seats so we could get the
so we get the money.
Tax.
So we get the tax funding. Yeah. So, but that is
that seat's still warm.
That's the thing. That's the sort of, I don't think parents fully understand.
There's no way.
The lack of control. That when we say someone as young as 12 years old can get an abortion, I mean, that's because California law says, in spite of, there are all kinds of things minors can't do legally. Kobe Bryant, when he was drafted by the Lakers, he was 17 years old, so he couldn't sign his first NBA contract. He had to have his mom and dad, his mom and dad had to sign it for him because you can't sign a contract if you're a minor. But the one, and for all kinds of medical things, we say, oh, kids are not smart enough to make medical decisions for themselves, so they need their parents to consent, with the exception of, quote, reproductive health care. And
Reproductive health care.
And the idea being that this is the area where, I guess, parental involvement we default assume might be harmful. And I mean, you're interacting with these girls. I mean, they're clearly more clueless than as clueless as anyone. Yeah.
They just, I mean, I think they kind of just thought they were on a little field trip and let's go together and it's a nice day and then we'll go in there and the people will be real nice and they are. I mean, I've been in there and they're nice, but
yeah.
I don't know. I wonder if that's how it is when you see Satan.
Yeah.
Well,
he appears as an angel of light. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, he's not, I mean, yeah.
And think of all the other weirdo things like the human trafficking and perverts or whatever. They seem nice.
Right.
That's
exactly.
what gets them there. And
yeah.
we're just sending our girls out to the wolves because I don't think we want to believe it.
Well, and that's why, I mean, these claims of, reproductive freedom, that, we're talking about women's rights, women's freedom. These are people too young to be
we're talking about little girls
actually
freedom.
Exercising. Yeah, to be actually exercising legitimate rights, too young to be exercising rights, to be exercising freedom, where in every other aspect of American society we say, nope, you're too young to exercise that right. You're not old enough to vote. You're not old enough to sign contracts. You're not old enough to go to a tanning salon. But
we stopped trusting parents too, because why did someone decide that it wouldn't be okay for a girl to go to her mother and say, I'm in this situation? Time after time, when I talk to girls who choose life, who are 18 or 19 even, the person they're afraid to tell is their mother, and they end up telling their mother, and their mother's like, what do you mean you thought about an abortion?
Mm-hmm.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Okay, this is how it goes, and congratulations. And we don't give anyone a chance to be on that side.
Right. So
another choice taken away.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Now, when we return, we're going to talk about some people who chose life and give some hopeful and optimistic stories. That's next on Right to Life Radio. Back on Right to Life Radio with John Girardi and Linda Talia. All right, Linda. So Linda is, as for those who don't know, is our official sidewalk advocate at Right to Life of Central California. And we talked about some kind of disturbing developments with seeing, teenagers out there, but you've had some good experiences out there lately, and apparently some people who chose life. So I thought that's the nice thing about this segment of the show is we get to share good news. So let's hear what kind of good stuff has been happening out there.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Well, we've talked about this before about how it's difficult to be out there, especially if you're competitive or I don't know. I'm only competitive, so I don't know how it feels to be not competitive and be out there.
Mm-hmm.
But you start counting your wins, and if you don't get a few people who choose life, you kind of start thinking you're not doing the job right. So it's been a little while, and then all of a sudden, about 2 weeks ago, we had two people in a row who chose life, and one of them was, we were talking about the high school girls and not really knowing what was going on. This one actually turned out to be a girl who's high school age, and we'd seen her mom, or I'd seen her mom, and offered her a flower and talked to her, and I said, hey, is your daughter pregnant? And she's like, I don't know. We're waiting to find out. And I was like, is she going to have an abortion? She's just kind of shook her head and kind of walked away. And so I made it a point to wait for that girl to come out. And so it took a while, and I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
But here she comes popping out, and I was like, hey, how's it going? And do you want a flower? And she walked over. She said, yes. And I said, so I heard that you might be pregnant. And she was like, yeah, I'm pregnant. And I said, are you going to keep the baby? And she said, I think so. And then I just said, congratulations. I just made it sound like, well, good for you. This is good. Not like, oh, wow, it's going to be
sure.
Just because I could tell she was 80 to 90% in, and now it needed to be like, here you are. Congratulations. You're going to have a baby. This is a blessing, and you're carrying a life. And So I just asked her if I could give her her first mommy gift, and I walked over the building, and we have these little bags that different volunteers have made up with these little things for new moms with, like bibs and wipes and diapers or whatever. And I gave it to her, and I got her number and referred her over to Obria. And I've been in contact with her and talking about having her come and just get some support. I offered her the baby shower that we offer everybody. And so we'll see how this transpires. So that was one of them. And another one, actually there were three. So another two, Monica and I had both talked to. And one of them seemed like she was for sure going to choose life, but you don't know because that's not something, most people aren't going to ante up and say, actually.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Or absolutely, I'm going to have an abortion. Or if they were thinking about having an abortion, they'll just kind of look at you like, yeah, I'm going to keep the baby. So, these were just two people who had gone in for a pregnancy test to confirm and found out they were. And it was like two within an hour. And after the second one walked away, we just turned around and high-fived. And we're like, hey, it's working. And so, it does work. And it does matter the conversation that you have, because I know that sometimes we just think, because they don't come back and get our, all of our services or all of the help and resources, that they didn't actually choose life. But we've talked about this before, where sometimes they don't really need, they don't need the extra part. They just needed someone to say congratulations or, hey, it's going to be okay. Sometimes that's all it is one small sentence or something like that. So that was that week where we had, it sounds like three different scenarios, different ages, different situations, but all choosing life, and two referred to Obria. So thank you to the volunteers and donors who have made it possible for us to actually do outreach and be there for these young moms who they sometimes just needed someone saying, okay, we're here.
Yeah, well, and that's the kind of amazing thing is just the fact of being out there. I mean, it's not like there's magic wands that we have to wave or incantations or spells. It's just simply the process of being out there and having the commitment and dedication as an organization and you individually to just be out there and do that.
Well, also being able to say what we do and do what we say. We can say, hey, if you need us, we'll give you maternity clothes. We'll meet with you once a month. We'll do a baby shower for you. Come on in. We'll give you a snack even. So all of that's made possible by people believing in what we do and supporting us and providing us with.
Yeah. Well, and I'm excited about, we've done a couple of things to kind of spruce up our outreach center. We have a beautiful new mural that's been painted inside there, which is great. Yep. We're sort of redecorating, repainting, just to make it a more warm and inviting place, not just for people we interact with, but also for people that we, for our own volunteers, and just so that people look at it and feel like, okay, this is a welcoming, good environment. And, so.
I mean, the mural says, fear not.
Fear not. There you go. Yeah.
And
which is.
Because, fear is the thing.
Yeah.
We want to take that away and.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Linda, for coming in and for discussing it. I know it's exciting to hear about the good things that are happening over at the Outreach Center. So thank you so much.
Appreciate.
All right. We'll be back with more Right to Life Radio right after this. We're back with Right to Life Radio, and joining us, as he always does, he's the CEO of California Family Council, our good buddy, Mr. Jonathan Keller, here to talk with us about some very important national legal stuff. So welcome, Jonathan.
Howdy. Always good to be here.
Jonathan's gearing up, I'm sure, for tomorrow's big gala event for
I am.
California Family Council.
One could say that I'm driving to the Capitol right now.
Yeah, you could. So Jonathan's having a big gala event for his organization, California Family Council, on Sunday night, and then the California March for Life is Monday, March 6th. If you want to sign up to come with us to the California March for Life, there's still time. It's on Monday. You can go to righttolifeca.org, and you can sign up right there. Right to Life, the word to, T-O, righttolifeca.org. We've also got a couple of other things coming up at Right to Life. March 16th, we have our Obria Medical Clinics of Central California, their big fundraiser at the Toca Madera Winery in Madera. Tickets are $100 a piece, and there are sponsorship opportunities available. You can go to obria365.org to contribute to that. All right, Jonathan, let's talk about, and then we've got also other events we'll be talking about later in the show. All right, Jonathan, let's discuss a kind of big-time federal lawsuit that's been filed in the Northern District of Texas.
All righty, all right.
All right?
All right.
And this has been done.
I'm sorry,
Matthew McConaughey.
I couldn't help it. You said Texas,
It
the
is
District
Texas.
of Texas.
That's true.
So.
All right. Now, this is a lawsuit that's been filed by Alliance Defending Freedom, which they represented us when we were suing the state of California.
Our good friend Denise Harley, shout out to her.
Now, ADF is representing a group of doctors and medical groups, and they are suing the FDA. And the name of the case is Alliance for Hippocratic Medicine v. FDA. This lawsuit is effectively trying to argue that the FDA's ongoing approval of the abortion pill was illegal at the time and continues to be illegal, and that the FDA's approval of the abortion pill should be reversed, that they don't have the proper legal authority to approve the abortion pill for use in the United States of America. And this is kind of a fascinating lawsuit because if it goes the way that the plaintiffs argue it should go, and it's all in the hands of this one federal district court judge in Texas, is he going to impose a nationwide application of this ruling? What's going to happen? This one Trump appointee judge in the Northern District of Texas, it could make the abortion pill illegal throughout the United States of America if the FDA failed to abide by its legal obligations to protect the health, safety, and welfare of women and girls for when it authorized the use of the chemical abortion drugs mifepristone and misoprostol. So we got a couple of terms we want to define here, I think, before we dig into this more. So the abortion pill is not the morning after pill. Okay, the abortion pill is a series of two medications. Well, not really, two drugs. That a person takes basically to induce an artificial miscarriage, to cause an artificial miscarriage. So the first pill cuts off the food supply for the baby. The second pill results in the expulsion of the baby. This process has a kind of fascinating history. How the FDA came to approve these drugs for use in the United States is a fascinating history, actually. Basically, the Clinton administration started working on this on day one in 1993 after Clinton took office. Maybe not literally day one, but figuratively day one. And throughout the entire course of the Clinton presidency, there was this concerted effort to get the approval process done for the abortion pill. They had to do some rush approvals in the year 2000, in the last year of the Clinton administration, when they weren't sure if this George W. Bush guy was going to beat Al Gore or not. So they tried to get it rushed through in time, and they finally got the abortion pill FDA approval in 2000. It was a regulation that authorized the FDA to grant accelerated approval of, quote, certain new drug products that have been studied for their safety and effectiveness in treating serious or life-threatening illnesses, and that can provide meaningful therapeutic benefit to patients over existing treatments. Now, ADF in their lawsuit points out that this standard should not have been applied to the abortion pill because, one, the abortion pill doesn't treat illnesses. The abortion pill just performs abortions. Babies are not illnesses. Pregnancy is not an illness. So it's not, and this is why, Jonathan, we've talked about this before, the idea of abortion not being healthcare, properly speaking.
Yes.
We're not saying this as a slogan, as another way of saying abortion is bad. We are saying that, no, healthcare means fixing something that is wrong with the human body. It doesn't mean... and that's not what happens in abortion. There's nothing wrong with 99% of the time. There's nothing physically wrong with a woman having an abortion. Abortion is not being chosen for a medical reason. It's 99.99% of the time it's being chosen for some kind of social reason.
Right. And it is like many other medical procedures, this is a reason why, for example, we don't think, even if you set aside the moral implication of the fact that you are taking the life of an unborn child, it should not be, at bare minimum, it should not be covered for the pure reason that it is in almost every case. I know not every case, don't hop on me, almost every case.
And we're separating out ectopic pregnancy removal. Okay,
Yes.
That's a separate category thing.
In almost every case, it is an elective procedure.
Right.
And it is basically, taken, what's the word that I'm thinking?
It's chosen for something having to do other than with your health, with your physical health.
Similar to body augmentation procedures. We've talked about it in the past, comparing it to,
like plastic surgery.
Exactly.
Michael Jackson getting a nose job because he didn't like the shape of his nose and wanted his nose to look a different way. That's not really healthcare. Fixing doing that to Michael Jackson's nose. Because it's not, I was about to say fixing. It wasn't anything to be fixed. Michael Jackson's nose was a normal, functional nose.
Right.
He just wanted his nose to look different. So we don't call that healthcare. We don't necessarily call that medicine. It wasn't treating something that was wrong with him. So it might be healthcare adjacent. You might need a healthcare professional to do it. It might have healthcare consequences, but it's not in and of itself healthcare. Now, abortion and elective plastic surgery are chosen for vastly different reasons, and I'm not, all four squares comparing them here. But there is something similar in the sense that it's being chosen for a reason that doesn't have to do with health. It's being chosen for some social reason. I don't have a supportive partner. I don't have enough money. I don't have, I'm not at a stage in life where I'm prepared to have a baby. Those are the kinds of reasons for which 99% of abortions are being chosen. So it's not, properly speaking, healthcare. So for the FDA to approve the abortion pill process in an accelerated approval process, that is, again, it's only there after something's been studied for its safety and effectiveness in treating, again, quote, serious or life-threatening illnesses that provides meaningful therapeutic benefit to the patient. It's not a therapeutic benefit at all. It's not a serious or life-threatening illness, pregnancy. It's a serious, I guess, condition, but it's not an illness. It's just being pregnant. Chemical, and that's so what ADF is saying is the whole time the FDA's approval of the abortion pill has been unlawful.
Which is a very, to quote the famous GIF from, I think it's Dodgeball, it's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and it has paid off for them because here we are, 23 years later, and the abortion pill is still legal. Now, the FDA, ADF's this is the bold strategy here. Yeah. So it also that now they have a lot of other reasons why they're arguing basically that the FDA approval was not appropriate. So they were arguing, there is evidence of serious and life-threatening effects on women and girls for taking the abortion pill. There have been 28 women who've died from the abortion pill. There have been thousands of women who've been hospitalized, particularly with serious bleeding and hemorrhaging from the abortion pill. Recently, the FDA has basically stopped collecting any adverse health data on the abortion pill other than information regarding death. So the FDA is actively trying to stop the collection of adverse data. Now, they've kept it on the market. They've eliminated more and more safeguards to the abortion pill. So it's actually a pretty disturbing trend. Now, will this be successful? Will this effort by ADF to just take the abortion pill off the market through a judge's order be successful? Now, this gets us into some legal grounds. So will it work? Let's go through the ways in which maybe it will and maybe it won't. First thing to note is where they are suing. I think that's actually very important to note. The Northern District of Texas is a notoriously conservative federal district court district. Okay? It's a notoriously conservative. Essentially, every judge in the Northern District of Texas is a Republican appointee. And what's been happening, the lawfare that's been taking place between conservatives and liberals over the last decade or so, it has basically resulted in when conservatives are trying to challenge some federal policy, they do so in the Northern District of Texas. When liberals are trying to challenge some Republican conservative policy, they do so in the District of Hawaii or the Northern District of California, where all the judges in those districts are super hardcore liberals. And they try to get a judge from one of those districts to issue a nationwide injunction. A nationwide injunction. So one federal district court judge in North Texas, in Amarillo or something, is going to issue has the ability to issue an injunction that binds the application of a given law or regulation, whatever. It binds it over the whole country. Okay, so that's what they're going to seek. It's kind of ambitious to seek that, but it's been done before. So you've got...
Most notably, just as an example, during the Trump administration, you had this one district judge out in Hawaii being like, well, I'm going to issue a nationwide injunction.
Yes, there were several nationwide injunctions that stopped a bunch of Trump executive orders that came out of the District of Hawaii, or, again, the Northern District. So this is the conservative version of that. Now, the judge in question is a Trump appointee. He's a very conservative guy, or conservative-leaning judge anyway. Will he actually do this? Well, I was trying to think through all the reasons why or how. So on the one hand, I was sort of questioning, well, do these groups that are suing, whom ADF is representing, so ADF here is representing the Alliance for Hippocratic Medicine, the American Association of Pro-Life Obstetricians and Gynecologists, on behalf of itself, its members, and their patients, the Marriage College of Pediatricians, the Christian Medical and Dental Associations, and then several individual doctors, Sean Jester, Regina Frost Clark, Tyler Johnson, and George Delgado. Now, the argument they've been making is that, well, we have standing to sue on behalf of our patients. And standing is kind of a tricky thing in law. Basically, what does standing mean? Standing means, do you have the right to be in this courtroom right now? Do you actually have the right? Are you actually impacted by whatever problem it is you're bringing up in the lawsuit sufficiently to bring a lawsuit? So I always use this example. Jonathan knows where I'm going here. If someone crashes their car into Jonathan's...
I'm always the victim in this horrible scenario.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll reverse it. Okay, if someone crashes their car into my house, Jonathan can't sue the person who did it for crashing into my house. Jonathan might be very upset on my behalf, and he might feel really badly about it.
I'm highly offended.
He's highly offended.
Well, John, let's make it even more personal. Let's say that I actually have like a somewhat familial relationship. Imagine it's my my brother.
Let's pick on David.
Yeah,
okay, someone crashes a car into David's house.
Yeah.
Jonathan can't just sue on behalf of David.
Even if I have a familial relationship.
Well, probably not. I mean, if David died and you were his
if I was his heir
or the executor of his estate or something, you probably could. But just because someone you know is injured doesn't mean you have the right to injure. The judge would basically look and say, what standing do you have to bring this lawsuit? And the defendant would say, Your Honor, he has no standing. And so that was one of the first things I asked myself was, do these doctors have standing to challenge an FDA ruling? Now, they cite a horrible Supreme Court case, June Medical Services v. Russo, where June Medical Services v. Russo was a case where it was yet again a case of an abortion provider suing a state for trying to impose some sort of laws that might limit access to abortion. And very often, conservatives have made the argument that abortion providers shouldn't be allowed to sue on behalf of women who have the right to abortion. It's women who have the right to abortion, not clinics. And basically, clinics have been allowed to sue under what's called third-party standing. So there's certain kind of circumstances where even if you're not the person directly impacted, if you can in some credible way say that you are representing their interests, the interests of people who don't have easy ability to sue, to whom you're directly tied, there's a bunch of rules for how third-party standing works. Abortion clinics have tried to claim that right. So I guess I'm questioning how likely this is to succeed. I don't know. Obviously, I think it would be wonderful if we could outlaw the abortion pill. I do think its approval process was kind of a travesty. And I think it could be a huge and significant way to stem the tide of abortion. We'll dig into it a little more after the break. This is Right to Life Radio on Power Talk. Back with Right to Life Radio. We've got a couple of events coming up. Again, we have the March for Life, the California March for Life in Sacramento on Monday, March 6th. If you want to join us at Right to Life of Central California, you certainly can. Get in touch with us. Go to righttolifeca.org and sign up. We've still got some spaces on the bus. We'll be leaving Monday morning from the parking lot of Holy Spirit Catholic Church in Fresno. So go to righttolifeca.org if you want to sign up for that. We've also got Gianna Jessen speaking Thursday, March 30th at the St. Paul Catholic Newman Center at Cedar and Barstow, rather. You can learn more about that by going to righttolifeca.org. And again, our Obria Medical Clinics fundraiser Thursday, March 16th at the Toca Madera Winery. Tickets are $100 a piece. Go to obria365.org, OBRIA365.org to do a sponsorship or buy some tickets. All right. Okay, Jonathan. So in California specific news, we've got a hearing coming up for one of the first of the bad abortion bills that the California State Legislature has introduced, AB 315. So talk with me about what's going on here.
All right, yes.
This is going to be sort of the second Tuesday after the California March for Life.
That's correct.
But the focus of AB 315 seems to be all these pro-life pregnancy centers are being deceptive, and we're going to stop them from doing it.
That's right. They literally are trying to do this under the false advertising provisions of regulating free speech. Mm-hmm. And essentially, John, this goes back to an effort that they tried back in, I think it was 2015, the Reproductive Fact Act.
Yes.
Essentially saying, well, these clinics are lying by omission. They're not advertising for abortion, so we're going to force you to advertise for abortion.
Right.
That was slapped down, thank you, Justice Clarence Thomas, by 5-4.
Yeah.
But now they're thinking, all right, okay, fine. Well, let's come at this from the other angle. Instead of trying to force you to say something, let's try to criminalize what you do say. Yeah. Instead of force you to say something you're not saying that you don't want to say, let's try to criminalize you based on what you are saying.
Yeah, and put you on pins and needles about every little word on your clinic website or every little thing that you put in a flyer or something like that. It's kind of a basically what AB 315 says is it's prohibiting, quote, misleading advertising, and there's a lot of heavy lifting being done by that one word, misleading.
That's right.
And it's a kind of thing where I think it could be ruled to be unconstitutional because of vagueness or overbreadth, because, what are you going to interpret as misleading here? Furthermore, it lets any Yahoo sue a clinic for having stuff on its website that is misleading. So how am I supposed to be secure if there's just going to be a liberal activist suing me for every jot and tittle on on the Obria website? I don't exactly know how that's supposed to work, how we're supposed to be able to function if the only guidance we have is don't say something misleading.
That's right.
Well, what is it? Is there a difference between misleading and poorly written, or misleading and confusing? I don't know. Maybe not all the prose on Obria.org is perfect, but I think it's mostly fine. So that's kind of the big fear here, is that I think this could be something that's unconstitutional because of how vague it is, how little security it would give any clinic who might genuinely be trying to follow the law. So anyway, we're going to be fighting against AB 315 for targeting pro-life clinics.
Come to the Capitol
Tuesday
the 14th,
March 14th.
Yep. Send in your information. We will have people there. It's going to be a big, important day.
We'll be lobbying against it at the California March for Life too. All right, that'll do it for Right to Life Radio. We'll see you all next time on Power Talk.